15. Housing Committee.
Thank you.
The Facilities Rebuild Program Social Housing Status Update, moved by Glenn Livingston, seconded by Pauline Cotter. Councillor Livingston, I presume.
Thank you, Mrs. Mayor.
I love saying that. Yeah.
I know, I've been trying to think of something for you, but I can't.
Just boss will do.
Was that boss? Yeah. No, I get that. No, just like to thank the committee at this point for all their hard work over the last year. I think it's been a good block of work. I'd like to acknowledge especially Pauline as Deputy Chair, who I asked all along to be my eyes and ears and to give me a good kick along, and I think she's been doing that, and I think we've worked well as a team. Also, I'd like to acknowledge Vicky's huge and tremendous work over the Accord, the entity, and the social housing hearings as well. I've enjoyed working with the committee. It's been great. We look forward to the next incarnation of the committee as part of the CHED. Anyway, with the waiting list, with those figures there, we'll need an update on the September because we had a typo, but I think the September figure was up a bit on August, I remember at the time, and that list does go up and down over time, as you probably appreciate. We're very conscious of the closed units and trying to get those open. They are being worked on, some of them at the moment. Others are going to come back in our comprehensive report next month at that new committee over how best to spend our money. The Knightsbridge Lane development continues. The roofs are actually on. So that's the first part of that report before the financial status. Did you want to receive any questions at this point, Mrs. Boss?
I was just joking.
Okay.
Phil.
Thank you. I've got a question in relation to 4.1 and the repairs that Glenn Livingston just referred to. And it's really, I see that we have to seek approval to proceed with them, and I'm just wondering who, I'm not quite sure really, who we need that approval from. Are we talking, is this in relation to EQC or, because that clearly is holding things up?
Carolyn.
So Carolyn, this is on page 216 and it's referred to in 4.11, just underneath the chart.
Right. So in terms of the 4 units under repair, 11 units seeking approval to proceed with repairs, that's in terms of the processes and the delegated authorities internally. So they're actually, what the sentence is saying is they're actually going through the process in terms of getting approval to, proceed.
And I guess, like I've previously expressed concern about how long this is taking, and that we've got 4 under repair as a start, but that we still have, 20 that in fact could be straightforward repairs. And I'm aware that a report is coming, but it kind of like has been coming a while. So I'm really just one flag that I'd like to move an additional recommendation here that we make this urgent.
Which bit?
Well, in addition to the recommendations in the report, I'd just like to move that we ask Council to urgently commence the repairs on the other 20 social housing units, which are straightforward, as referred to in 4.11. $24 in total, but 4 have started, and it's the other 20.
So, okay, so how do you want the amendment to...
Well, there's a staff recommendation which on page 218 that the committee have confirmed and received the report, and I'd just like to add this to that. So it becomes 6.2. I'll just repeat it, sorry, I'll give it to you.
At the moment it says that the committee received the report. So it's that the report be received and that.
And they're just typing it up now.
Oh, right.
Perhaps Carolyn can clarify that, but my understanding is that those 20 would still be closed. Is that correct, Carolyn?
So the staff who are able to give the advice are not present at the moment,
Okay.
but we can get
But
them.
just from the report,
we can get them.
from the report, it would appear that they are still closed.
We'll
That's
get
why.
clarification, thanks.
Right. So, so that the report be received and that the council urgently commence repairs on the other 20 social. Sorry?
It just says in the financial implications that on 5.2 that the housing portfolio will be insufficient to repair and replace all earthquake damaged housing stock. So there is actually a financial pinch by actually making this recommendation. So I'd like to understand how much it's going to cost to repair all these 22 units, not forgiving that we want to see them open, but in relation to how much money we have left in the housing portfolio.
On the Housing Committee, we're really aware of the urgency to get closed units open. We've been working with staff to try and get this into the program as much as it will fit in with the budget. So, you know, we are aware of that as a priority. So I'm wondering if we really need this
Well, it does refer to setting a priority in the existing report, and I just wonder whether we should take on board what the Deputy Chair of the Committee is saying, Phil, and maybe change it to that the report be received and that the council, you know, expresses again the urgency in getting the repair program, you know, underway.
Yeah, I think he's making something explicit, which is already happening.
Yeah.
Scott's got good information. Scott Bennett will give us some good information.
Yeah. We'll get an update on that, but council expresses the urgency with which you know, repairs must be completed on our other social housing units.
We've had some meetings with staff aside from committee meetings to really try and focus on this too. So, but I don't know whether you may wish to ask Scott. This.
That'll be fine. Yeah. So, would you like to give us an update? Thank you.
Yes. Right. So, in terms of the table that you see there, we've broken. We've classed 75 units in total as what we think are economic to repair. They've been subject to prioritisation on a complex basis as well. So, and then we've further broken those down into three categories: the units that we consider sort of straightforward repairs, those that have a more structural element, and those that have a significant structural element of repair to them. So, with respect to the easiest category, the ones that we've demonstrated as straightforward repairs, we've got 4 units at Boyd Cottages currently under repair there now. And we've also got a further 11 closed units at Aldwin's Courts, which are currently under repair as well. So that brings a total of 15 closed units that are physically in play, being repaired now. And the remainder of those straightforward repairs, units that I've defined in there, we're going through the various elements of the damage assessments with those and developing the sort of the components with those. So what we're trying to do, as well as doing the earthquake repair component of it, we're also wanting to make sure at the time that we're taking off wall linings, that we're looking at things like insulating and sorting out those components so that we get the best value for money in terms of that. So we're doing that at pace behind the scenes. So hopefully that clarifies the current situation.
All right. So
It does, and like since this was written, clearly that more is being done, and I'm very pleased to hear that. And I think, though, we clearly want it to continue on an urgent basis, Scott.
Yep. Very much so.
right. So rather than focusing on the other 20 social housing units, which is straightforward, which is outdated, then Maybe it just should say with which repairs must be completed on our social housing units, full stop. Is that okay? Because then we're sort of just really reinforcing the urgency with which we need to be acting.
With your permission, Phil, I think you were focusing on the closed units, aren't you? Prioritising getting any closed units open that are possible.
Absolutely, it is the closed units because clearly if they can be fixed, people can live in them and the social housing draws the rent and we can progress.
Yep.
So it's a closed units and perhaps that word needs to be closed social.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yanni.
Can I just check, out of the 445 total closed units, we've got 75 that are economic to repair.
Yes.
What's the time frame for getting those 75 repaired?
We're actually working through that assessment at the moment, so I'm hoping the first 15 that we've got underway currently will be done by Christmas. That's what we're working through to that time frame. And with respect to the other ones that are coming in behind that, there's a whole lot of prioritisation work on those complexes that's going ahead. So we're delayed by, or we're limited, I should say, by the amount of engineering resource we've got available externally at the moment, and we're also delayed by the contracting resource that we've got available at the moment. So I don't have an accurate forecast.
Okay. And so how many closed unit repairs have we done since the earthquake?
I don't have that information
But the 75 is the figure total.
That's the remaining.
That's remaining. So that's
that we think are viable at this stage based on the information.
Is there any other resolutions we should pass today that would help you, enable you to get those 75 done sooner? And if so, what would that be?
I think probably, the process that we've got currently with the delegations has been based on the fact that we compare what we've assessed, or the contractor has assessed the actual cost of repair against what the insurance repair is, and if they're within 20% of each other, we can get a director approval to proceed with those. Where that delegation, or where it's outside that delegation, that forces us to come back with a council report as part of that process. So that's what you've been seeing concurrently. So we've brought to council the reports to proceed with Boyd Cottages. We've brought back to council the reports to proceed with Aldwyn's Courts and that. So it's really that process in itself that adds probably a couple of weeks to write a report, and then sort of that process of going through the committee and then council approval, all up is giving us sort of a 2-month, 6 weeks to 8 weeks period of getting that approval. But
Vicky?
So if there was a prioritisation done on all these 75 and you knew that subject to money being available, you just went ahead and did them, that would actually speed it up?
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
So
no, I get that. That's fine. That's cool. So we can do that. Make sure that it's done. And then the second thing, is there any update on the EPC?
Yes, there is, but not right now.
Okay, right, fair enough.
Probably just add that the of the last units that we've talked about there, the 12 closed units, we're looking at re-levelling those, and we're getting very close to repair versus rebuild costs. So we're in that viability assessment.
All right, I shall put the motion. All those in favour say aye. Those opposed say no. That's carried. And
Financial status, Jason?
financial status update.
Yeah.
So that's moved by you, seconded by Pauline. Yep.
All good?
No. Well, are there any questions?
Are there any? Yeah.
I'll put the motion. All those in favour say aye. Those opposed say no. That's carried. And the final,
Okay, the Chair's report on the accommodation supplement.
so you'll move that, obviously, as the Chair.
Yep.
And Pauline, you'd like to second that?
Would you like a little bit of rationale for this?
Yes.
Sure. We're asking the Minister to bring the accommodation supplement for Christchurch as a sub-region of Area 3 in line with Area 1. The rents, as we know, have increased at least 47% since the quakes here in Christchurch, but the supplement for this area, or for Area 3, hasn't changed since 2005. So what we're honing in on, in our view, there's been a disconnect between that supplement being increased in relation to the quakes. The rents here in various suburbs are now on a par with Auckland. The suburbs chosen in that report I chose from a press article on this some months ago at the beginning of the year and used that as comparative data. You'll notice some of those suburbs in Christchurch are now ahead of some of the Auckland suburbs. The CDC report today backs up this report. In fact, rents have gone up another $10 since that. And so what we're asking is that the Minister reconsider the accommodation supplement for this area. And we're seeking the Council's support for that. 7.2 comes out of 7.1, but I would suggest we treat it separately. We're not quite there yet, that we just look at this. So I guess...
All right,
open
so is
for
there any
debates.
discussion? Any questions? Yep.
I just wasn't sure, have government previously been asked to raise the accommodation supplement?
Not as far as I'm aware, but there's been some media interest on this.
Right. And just, I mean, I'm happy to support this, but I do worry that simply giving people more money makes rents go up even more, rather than it addresses the underlying problem, which is lack of housing and lack of rent stabilisation.
I've discussed this with the Mayor's Welfare Office. The suggestion there is that if the Minister, for instance, says, and she's already indicated that, that could be the case, that we look for something in lieu, such as a winter heating supplement, for instance. That would be his suggestion.
It's a different question. If we raise the accommodation supplement, that possibly gives an incentive for people to raise rents.
Well, I think we can't second guess it. My suggestion would be to await the Minister's response and then take it from there.
Without asking for anything else.
Yep. Ali.
My comment on that is that would be a fair response in a normal situation, but this is not a normal situation, and the market is being affected also by insurance companies that are paying for temporary accommodation. So you can't take something that would be a normal rationale, as you're suggesting, Yanni, which normally I would agree with. The issue is that we're in an unusual situation, and this would not be a long-term thing. It has to be addressed as soon as possible, and that's why we're suggesting this.
Yep.
You'll note the CDC report says today, historically Christchurch rents have been below the national average. We're now above the national average.
Yeah.
It's a very unusual situation.
Yep. Phil?
I think that the only kind of longer term solution to what Councillor Johansson's referring is that if there was a clear limit on rents, but I think to do that we'd have to have more information and before we ask for that. So I think that an increase of the accommodation allowance is a good step at this stage in terms of making them a little more affordable, the rents.
Yep. Yanni?
Thank you. I understand the situation we're in, and I appreciate that this is just but one thing that we could possibly ask government to do to try and help the financial burden on people in our city at the moment. I do know in the Housing Accord there is an agreement for us to work with government around other issues, other initiatives. So, I just wanted to signal that I think we do need to do some more work around some of those other interventions. I again refer to the Tenants Protection Association rental survey, which show that there's really four main areas where we could assist people. One was the cost of letting fees and moving. One was the warrant of fitness. One was the security of tenure, and the final most important one was rent stabilisation post-disaster. So, I'm happy to support this today, but I do think we need to be careful not to see this as the only solution. Actually, it should be put in place, but it actually needs to be backed up by other mechanisms rather than just creating an incentive for rents to get even higher because the government's just simply going to top up. But I appreciate the circumstance that we're in at the moment. I know people are struggling, and I know that this is a very short-term way in which some people could get relief. So I will support it.
All right, I shall put the motion. All those in favour say aye. Those opposed say no. Carried. Thank you.
B is about the CTAS,
Yeah, we'll just
slightly separate,
the
or have you included that?
no, I've included that in the
Oh, okay.
total.
All right.
Yeah,
Oh,
It was a bit different.
can I speak to that briefly?
we'll just passed it. Sorry. Sorry, I had no one requested that they be dealt with separately.
I mentioned that, but that's okay. Cool.
Oh,
It's all good.
okay. Sorry.
I suspect the council would have agreed in line with the
Yeah.
first part.
Anyway, so moved Glenn Livingston and seconded Ali Jones. Perhaps you want to speak on the report as a whole be adopted? Okay.
You know, may I just thank Pauline, it's a pity she's had to go, but she's really pushed hard over the free insulation offer, and a lot of our units have been now updated with insulation, 264 out of 700 which qualify at the moment. So that's
Great.
been a great, a great way to finish off the housing committee.
It was
It's a real chocolate
It was
fish
arising
week.
from that meeting, wasn't it? Yeah. Great. Well done. Okay, I'll put the motion. All those in favour say aye. Those opposed say no. That's carried. Thank you.